you for warning us.
A senior dog, once broken, now walks beside a human who never gave up. Fear meets patience, and distrust transforms into a gentle, lifelong friendship. Love appears in quiet, unexpected ways. Wrigley entered her life quietly, like a soft whisper at the end of a long, exhausting day. She was 10 years old, carrying the weight of years that had treated her unkindly. She didn't know how to climb stairs, didn't dare touch treats, and had never felt the joy of toys. She had never rested on a cushioned bed. Her body carried faint scars on her face, reminders of past pain that had left their mark long ago. She didn't wag her tail like other dogs, didn't greet anyone with enthusiasm. She simply curled up on the floor, silent and watchful, ready to flee at the first sign of danger. No one could ever know the exact life she had endured before, but it was clear it had not been gentle. She was taken in as a foster, the plan being to care for her for only a month. But as the days went by, imagining letting her go became impossible. In her quiet, understated way, Wrigley had settled into the home and into their hearts. By the end of that month, she was no longer a foster, she had become family.
You went viral on TikTok. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you went viral on TikTok.
It began with tiny steps. She learned to accept a treat from a hand, gently and without fear. She climbed stairs for the very first time, hesitant yet determined. She discovered that a squeaky toy wasn't a threat, and that a pillow could be a place to rest. One morning, she was found still lying in bed, head on the pillow, sleeping soundly. That was the moment it became clear Wrigley had begun to trust. Life shifted again when they moved across the country to New York City. Wrigley was terrified of cars. Her body stiffened and trembled every time she stepped into one, as though vehicles had always meant danger. But she stayed close, her trust strong enough to face her fear because the one holding her leash had never let her down. The city brought new experiences. Because of her sensitive skin, the vet recommended sweaters instead of a cone. A simple turtleneck turned into a small wardrobe, and soon Wrigley became the quiet star of every walk. She wore sweaters, soft shirts, even tiny jackets, and seemed to sense how adorable she looked. Her ears perked up when she caught her reflection in the mirror, a gentle sparkle lighting her usually calm eyes. The years, however, had left their imprint on her body. Arthritis and hip dysplasia made her legs weak and unsteady. She could no longer run or leap. Their daily walks became shorter, just 2 blocks at a time, but Wrigley seemed content. At home, her favorite blanket was folded just so on the couch. Every morning she checked if it was still in place, nudging it back with her nose if anyone had moved it. It was her small way of keeping her little world in order.
That's pretty nice. Big stretch. That was awesome.
The bond between them grew in quiet, subtle ways. Sometimes it felt as though Wrigley understood without words. Her eyes seemed to listen, her presence enough to calm a restless mind. When life felt chaotic, there was always Wrigley curled into a warm ball on her blanket, steady and comforting.
Was that your lamb?
She never fetched or ran through the park, but she had her own ways of showing love. She chose her spots carefully, always close enough to be near, but never overwhelming. She seemed to know exactly where to rest her head at night. It was a stillness that soothed, a companionship that demanded nothing yet gave everything. The truth was, Wrigley had taught something easy to forget, that love doesn't require perfection. It doesn't demand grand gestures or flawless moments. It lives in patience, in the quiet willingness to stay near even when the other hasn't yet learned to trust. It grows in the gentle choice to keep showing up every single day, no matter what. She was, in so many ways, a soulmate wrapped in fur. Not the kind you search for, but the kind that quietly finds you and never leaves. Even with slow steps and weary bones, she had a way of filling the home with peace. She had come from a place of hurt and learned to love again, not because her world was suddenly perfect, but because someone refused to give up on her. Time, of course, could not be paused. No one knew how many more years they would share, but the promise was simple. Whatever time remained, it would be filled with comfort, safety, and love. The same love offered to her from the start, and the same love she returned in her quiet way. The most beautiful gift life had given was not wrapped in ribbons or celebrated in a single moment. It was a senior dog, once broken, who had learned to rest her head without fear, who had found a place she could finally call home. She had entered that home as a foster and stayed as family, forever touching the life of the one who opened the door. If this story has warmed your heart or reminded you of the beauty in second chances, take a moment to share it. Like the video, pass it along to someone who could use comfort today, or subscribe so you don't miss more stories like this. Your small action could be the reason another animal finds safety, trust, and a forever home. Because love, once given, always finds its way back.